Have a seat, I'm going to run against you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tonight you will be played by.
You know, on the soapbox.
Now they go. Now,
More of a history channel.
okay. There you go. Oh, okay. Tonight's General Lee will be played by. Yeah, okay. I'm going to read the Joseph Stereo could not be with us this afternoon. He's presented a statement. I'd just like to read it for the record. And Mr. Du Bois, his opening statement time. My name is Joseph DiGigerio. I am the Republican candidate for sheriff in Strafford County. I'm not able to be with you today as I'm celebrating my granddaughter's 3rd birthday. On November 6th, we all have important choices to make at the polls, and with that in mind, I'm asking you to consider my qualifications, experience, and cast your vote for sheriff. I have served as a law enforcement officer in Strafford County since 1977, first as a member of the Dover Police Department, and most recently as a member of the Sheriff's Office, where I was second in command. I have a Bachelor's of Science degree in criminal justice. I have a full accreditation as a traffic accident reconstruction expert serving in the county accident reconstruction team. I graduated from the Baxter School of Lie Detection in San Diego, California, and have been a senior staff instruction with Northwestern University since 1994. I have also graduated from the Babson College School of Command Training. Because the term of the sheriff is only a 2-year term, there is no time for on-the-job training. My tenure with the Sheriff's Office gives me a complete working knowledge of the day-to-day operations of that agency. I also have a proven track record of successfully working with federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies for the past 35 years. By electing me as your next sheriff, the transition will be smooth, and the Sheriff's Office will continue to function at the level of service you have come to expect and enjoy. I pledge not to duplicate services and keep the office of the sheriff focused on our required duties and responsibilities. I will also continue to support providing the deputy sheriff as a prosecutor for the towns that require that service, as well as ensuring the county communications center retains its accreditation. On November 6th, please vote for unmatched experience and leadership. Vote Joseph DiGigerio, and together we can ensure that Strafford County remains a safe place to live and raise our families. Thank you. Without it, turn the mic over to Mr. Du Bois.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Susan, for having the event in the town of Milton, for hosting the event. It's the first one that I've had the opportunity to attend, and I'm very happy to be here. My name's Dave Du Bois. I'm the former police chief in the city of Rochester. I grew up in the city of Somersworth, the son of a police officer. It's been in my blood, so to speak, since I was a young child, watching my dad. And I decided to move into the world of law enforcement as an adult after a stint with the New Hampshire Army National Guard and a short time working in the security field. I've been in the law enforcement profession the majority of my adult life in both the city of Somersworth and the city of Rochester. Most of my time in law enforcement was spent in the city of Rochester, where I came up through the ranks as a patrol officer, a young man. I rose to the level of chief of police after being appointed by the Rochester Police Commission about a decade ago. The Rochester Police Department is a modern, very effective, efficient police department. Folks are familiar with the city of Rochester. I am conditioned and used to working on tight budgets with a lot of oversight. We listened to Leo talk about second sets of eyes and third sets of eyes looking at things. He was speaking a language I'm very familiar with, and my background, having my work overseen by a board of elected police commissioners, a 13-member city council, and also in a city manager council form of government, where I had a city manager, a finance director, and a finance staff that I work with on budgetary reasons. So I've got cards that I will leave over here with the other information that the town of Milton has over here, that you can look up a little bit more of my background than what I've just told you. Most importantly on that card is a cell phone number and address for the internet. I enjoy contact and engagement with the people that I've served as a police chief, and I certainly would enjoy that as a county sheriff. My background includes some instructor work, both at New Hampshire Police Standards and Training in many law enforcement areas, and I instruct nationally in the area of law enforcement ethics and law enforcement leadership throughout the country. That's something that I believe is going to be needed for the next county sheriff, the next register of deeds, the next county commissioners. We've heard other speakers speak about cost shifting coming down from the state, and I'll take it all the way to the federal government that winds up coming down to our local municipalities. And it's our local leaders that have to manage that. And the best way to do it is working collectively together as a team. And I would agree with the county commission candidates that spoke about the efforts and the successes of Strafford County in being innovative and working together in the things that they do. As police chief in Rochester, I enjoyed my interaction with the county. That's one of the reasons why I look forward to making a run for county sheriff. And I left the Rochester Police Department when Wayne Estes decided that he was not going to run for the next term. I'll leave that as my opening, and I don't know how you want to handle this with just one of us, but here I am.
I don't have any questions that have been submitted for
Can I have a
Ms.
question?
Cole. Yeah.
I teach at Strafford County Jail for federal felons and local inmates. And one of my concerns is the number of very young inmates there for the first time who learn careers, obviously. How do we put you guys out of jobs? How can we reach? What are your ideas on how we can reach
For some of
these
the other,
young people prior to them being sent up to the county jail? What can you do? What can we do new for prevention and for intervention?
okay, I'm going to repeat the question, I think, for this mic. I know the people in the room heard it, but I think they want the folks at home to hear it.
Yeah.
The woman is asking me about, she works at the county jail, works with young offenders at the county jail, and she's asked basically, how can we put law enforcement out of work and eliminate the need to have programs in a county jail? What can we do for more preventive work in the law enforcement profession to prevent crime before it happens? That's a great question. It's one that the profession has been wrestling with for decades, but we've seen the most gains in that area in the past 10 to 15 years, in my opinion. I told you my dad was a police officer, and I've seen policing for decades and how it's done. And if you go back to what's referred to as CompStat, or very similar to what Mr. Brown talked about, you look at an issue, you analyze the issue, and develop solutions for the issues. That is a common theme in progressive police departments today. That's how the Rochester Police Department was able to, during my term as the CEO, drive down crime in double-digit numbers for the past 10 years. Over successive years, we've been able to do that. So you do prevention work, intervention work, and enforcement work, all coming from law enforcement. Traditionally, law enforcement would focus on enforcement, using jails, using incarceration, using those types of things. Today, you're seeing more law enforcement departments and police officers throughout the country work on prevention programs, and more importantly, in my opinion, and I think what you're talking about, intervention programs where you take at-risk youth and target them with certain programming that involves not only law enforcement, but other social service agencies in the area. And the county commissioners talked briefly earlier about Strafford County. We have some very good intervention programs and prevention programs in the area. And as CEO of Rochester PD, I made sure that my department and myself engaged in those areas. The Domestic Violence Unit, the Family Justice Center, the Child Advocacy Center, all county-run agencies, but they run with the help of law enforcement throughout the county. And that's what I believe is going to attack, what you'd like to attack, is cooperation and collaboration between law enforcement, elected officials, and nonprofits and social service agencies in the area.
Any other questions? Mr. DuBois? You want to make any final statements?
I'll close, real briefly, thanks. Dave DuBois is a lifelong resident of Strafford County. Generations of my family have come from Strafford County. I love the county, I love the law enforcement profession, I love people that I've served in the city of Rochester. I left there mainly to make a run for county sheriff. I didn't have the option to stay there and continue doing the job I love and move into this area of law enforcement. Strafford County is a county that I would be proud to serve, that I'll serve with integrity and honor if elected, and I ask for your vote. Thanks so much for your time, and thanks again for hosting me.